This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. It's Friday, and we're glad you're on WKYT. We're live from Lexington with the latest, and now at 6 a.m., police say one man is dead following an officer-involved shooting in eastern Kentucky. We're tracking the latest on the investigation. We'll have it for you just ahead.
Lexington police are trying to figure out if two overnight smash and grabs are related. We'll have the latest from investigators just ahead.
And thousands of UK students will be moving back to campus starting tomorrow. We'll take a look at how that will impact traffic. It's coming up.
And we're seeing outside mostly dry conditions once again this morning. But this afternoon, it's still going to be hot. It's still going to be humid. Sitting there 95 to 99 degrees the way it feels outside. When does the rain arrive? Most of us have been dry the past few days. I'm going to go over that, show you some pretty good news in the forecast that's coming up.
And let's get right to the news.
We're continuing to track the latest on a deadly officer-involved shooting in Harlan County. Police said it happened last night in the Woodland Hills subdivision near Harlan.
Details are still limited. Here's what we do know at this time. State police telling us that officers from Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, as well as Lexington Police and the Lexington Fire Department's arson unit, were all at the scene of this shooting. Again, this is in southeastern Kentucky, but it has these Lexington connections. They say those officials were involved in an argument with a man. Police say that man was eventually shot and killed. They did not indicate who shot him.
I mean, it's very unfortunate anytime there's an individual or a law enforcement has to use deadly force. But again, it's very early in the investigation. We're still trying to gather details exactly what led up to this.
The victim's identity has not been released this morning. Police say no officers were reported injured during that incident.
New on WKYT this morning, Lexington firefighters were busy for hours overnight after a home caught fire near UK's campus. It happened last night at midnight at a house on South Limestone and Max Welton Court. Crews say the home was significantly damaged after the fire started in a basement and spread throughout the home. Luckily, no one was injured. We're told the vacant house crews were still there trying to figure out exactly how the fire started this morning. Also new this morning, police are investigating after overnight break-ins at two Lexington vapor shops. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain's at our alert desk with more on this.
Yeah, Rebecca, police say they're still trying to determine what was taken from those shops. Police tell us the first break-in happened about midnight at the Avail Vapor Shop on Nichols Park Drive. Police say the front window was smashed in that break-in. Now, the second break-in happened about 30 minutes later at Precision Vapor on Southland Drive. Police say the front windows there were also smashed in. They say they're not sure if the two are related. Police are looking to see if there is any surveillance video in these two break-ins. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you very much, Michelle. What started out as a water rescue ended with a man behind bars in Anderson County. It happened at a dam on the Kentucky River near Lock 5 Road, not far from Lawrenceburg. Rescue crews say Ronald Callahan had to be rescued after getting his boat stuck on one of the docks, the dam's locks there. They say Callahan claimed that his boat ran out of gas, causing it to stall. But after the rescue, police accused Callahan of operating that boat under the influence, and they placed him under arrest. Nobody injured in that.
Once we got him to dry land, he was immediately detained by law enforcement.
Police say no one was injured again in the rescue or any of this, but Callahan is charged with operating this vessel under the influence of alcohol for a second offense.
Family and friends gathered for a candlelit vigil to honor a Lexington murder victim. The vigil was in remembrance of Stephanie Mullins. Police say she was found dead last weekend behind an apartment building on Cross Keys Road. During the vigil, family members spoke about Mullins' love for others.
Stephanie, she was a great individual. She loved her kids. She loved her grandchildren. She was very family oriented. She really was, and she was a very good friend to all of her friends.
At this time, Lexington police haven't made any arrests in the case. They say they're still trying to figure out exactly what led to the murder.
Attorneys for a man who's accused of killing a retired school bus driver are calling for charges to be thrown out this morning. Nicholas Willinger is charged with murder, robbery, and burglary following the 2010 death of Sue Jones at her Scott County home. Now, according to documents, Willinger's attorneys say some of the evidence in the case has recently disappeared. They claim the detective investigating the case put two large notebooks of files on his bookshelf when he retired. Those notebooks have now disappeared and cannot be found. Willinger is scheduled to return to court on August 22nd.
A grand jury's indicted a Breathitt County woman accused of killing her husband. Sandra Hurt faces murder and assault charges. Police say she shot and killed her husband Henry in June. They say she also shot her son and a woman who was with them at the time. Police say both survived. An event to show appreciation for law enforcement will be held in Woodford County this evening. Unity in the Community is open to all members of the community. Organizers say the event aims to bring people of all backgrounds together to show unified appreciation for Woodford County first responders. Tonight's event begins at 6 at Journey Church on Hope Lane in Versailles.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Well, you still have about an hour before the sun actually starts to rise. You can see some of those meteors shooting across the sky. We were talking about it during break. I actually laid on the back patio. Before I go to work, you got to let the dogs out, right? So I let the dogs out and just kind of laid back there out on one of the pieces of furniture that I have back there, and actually saw 3 in 5 minutes. It's not bad right there. So it's pretty cool to see the Perseid meteor shower. Remember, 6:51 is sunrise early this morning. Defender Radar Network, nothing going on this morning. A few clouds over toward eastern Kentucky. That's going to limit your opportunity to actually see some of those, but actually had clear skies around here. This is your heat index, and usually we show this during the afternoon, but I wanted to show you this morning, okay? This is the way it feels when you walk out the door early this morning. Lexington, 80 degrees. Frankfort, Lawrenceburg, Peaks Mill. Head off into Simpsonville, where the Alamos are. They're at 82 degrees. I mean, it is pretty steamy outside in terms of just waking up, walking out the door. And it's going to be like that toward the afternoon, too, at 89 degrees. If you're one of those walker runners, during the morning hours, it's very humid. During the afternoon, evening, it's hot and humid. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. There is a small chance of rain once again today. Most of us have stayed dry the past few days. We'll do it again, but you just can't rule out a heavy downpour like we've had. There have been a few people that have picked up some pretty heavy downpours. But then let's talk about your weekend, okay? This is what you want to know about. A lot going on, big events happening. We got a lot of 5Ks, a lot of big races, the Midsummer Nights Run. This takes you off into Saturday evening, okay? And you can see there's really not much to it, right? Saturday evening during the Midsummer Nights Run at 8 p.m. That's downtown Lexington. Before that, you got the fastest kid in town. You got some music playing there at the pavilion. You got a lot going on. I'll be down there with the family. It's a pretty cool event. Love to see you guys down there. But this is through Saturday, right? Small chance of rain during that time, by the way, during the race. Well, watch Sunday off into Monday and Tuesday. That's a totally different story. The amounts haven't really changed that much. Central, northwestern zone still the best opportunity. The timing, though, Saturday with being mostly dry and holding on to just a few storms, it's mainly Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday now, as opposed to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Some good news for a lot of us. I know a lot of us have been asking on Facebook, on Twitter. For me, Micah Harris WX on Twitter, by the way. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And also asking about that Saturday. It's looking better for you. Speaking of Facebook, Krista Lane sent this one in. This is the first day of school pictures. Still showing them off this morning. Hop on my Twitter page, hop on my Facebook page, send them on in. Cute little kid there. And then you can see 2 other little ones. And this is 4th and 1st grade, Amanda Ishmael. That's a cool shot right there of those 2 cute kids heading back to school. 7-day forecast. Remember, small chance of rain today. It's much about the temperatures. Saturday, most stay dry. Can't rule out a couple of rumbles of thunder. And then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, those are your better likelihood. I've actually seen some widespread rain move on in.
Okay.
The deal with that. You see those pictures of those kids, you know we're going to be all right.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Cuties.
Yeah, they really are in
go.
the future. Thank you. 6:09 on WKYT this morning.
Let's bring you a little bit of traffic on this Friday.
See what's going on with Officer Don, and we check in with him now. Good morning, Don.
Hey, good morning. First look at the Man of War and Hamburg traffic on the inner and outer loops of Man of War there from I-75 over to Nicholasville Road. One click of the light to all the major intersections. That's good news. Of course, we're going to be working on the Todd's Road widening project. Expect some delays there a little bit later. And also on the outer loop of Man of War near Harrodsburg Road. Drive times are holding their own right now. And live look courtesy of Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. Outside so far, we're moving okay with no major issues. Of course, the buses are going to be on the road today. So be extra careful on the way in. We'll keep you up to date. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we have more news coming up for you on this Friday on WKYT This Morning.
Government officials are advising Americans in Thailand to remain vigilant following a series of deadly bombings last night. More on the developing story when we come back. Thousands of students will be arriving on the University of Kentucky's campus tomorrow.
Exciting time. It's the beginning of several move-in dates for students over the next week or so. And while it's always an exciting time, it's going to be busy as well. There will be some increased traffic, things to deal with. WKYT's Mike Byer joining us live from campus with more on what to expect. Good morning, Mike. All right, about 2,000 students arriving. They'll be moving into the new halls there in many cases. For those who will be participating in move-in day tomorrow, here's some things you need to know. There will be no parking zones across campus. That will go into effect from midnight until 6 Saturday evening.
Both sides of the University Drive, from Cooper Drive to Hilltop Avenue, will be a no parking zone. There will be no parking on Sports Center Drive between Woodland Avenue and the Employee E lot north of the Nutter football training facility. There will be metered parking in front of Roselle Hall on Avenue of Champions. There will be no parking on Martin King Boulevard between Maxwell Street and Avenue of Champions.
And the same goes on Lexington Avenue between the Employee E lot entrance and Avenue of Champions. Lastly, on Woodland Avenue between Hilltop Avenue and Sports Center Drive, no parking will be allowed there. So just some heads up on some places that you probably won't want to try to park on Saturday as this big move-in is underway. Very exciting time of the year, certainly. Well, we're glad you're along at 6:15 on WKYT. Hillary Clinton could release her 2015 tax returns as early as today.
Yeah, the release comes as her rival, Donald Trump, hints his hit campaign could be in trouble in one conservative state. Brian Webb has the latest on both campaigns.
Donald Trump didn't sound like himself talking to evangelical preachers in Florida. He admitted his campaign is having problems in places like Utah.
We're having a problem. I mean, because, you know, look, it could cost us the Supreme Court. We're going to have 4 or 5 justices put on.
Adding to Trump's troubles, reports that 70 Republican senators urged the RNC to steer resources toward congressional races and away from Donald Trump, something the Republican National Committee and the GOP nominee deny.
Well, there's no truth, but I'm the one that's funding. I'm the one that's raising the money, and other people are getting to use the money that I raise. And I mean, if it is true, that's okay, too, because all I'll have to do is stop funding the Republican Party.
Hillary Clinton unveiled her economic plan in Detroit Thursday and pledged to keep her economic promises.
I will stop any trade deal that kills jobs or holds down wages, including the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Something Donald Trump pounced on, reminding voters that Clinton supported the partnership while Secretary of State, but reversed her opinion on the trade deal during the primaries.
And all of a sudden she went from it's the gold standard to she won't approve it.
Clinton is also facing scrutiny over 300 pages of her emails released this week. Some suggest possible ties between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, a connection the Clinton campaign denies. Brian Webb for CBS News.
There are 87 days left until the election. Hillary Clinton is off the campaign trail today. Donald Trump's campaign is in the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
We're following a developing international story this morning here at WKYT. Government officials are advising any U.S. citizens traveling in Thailand to take precautions this morning after a series of deadly bombings. It happened in the country's popular tourist spots. Police say at least 4 people were killed. Several more have been wounded. Investigators say it is still unclear who is responsible for the blasts at this point.
Police are investigating how a boy was injured while riding a roller coaster in western Pennsylvania. He was reportedly thrown from the ride and fell 12 feet onto its tracks at Idlewild Park. The child was flown to the hospital. On Sunday, a 10-year-old boy died in Kansas City, Kansas from a neck injury while riding a water slide. Zika fears have the U.S. Surgeon General urging Puerto Rico to intensify its public education campaign against the virus. It's estimated 25% of the island will be infected by year's end. There have been 25 cases of locally transmitted Zika in South Florida. The mosquito-borne virus can cause birth defects. The name and face of the Huffington Post is stepping down from the liberal news website. Ariana Huffington, co-founder of the Huffington Post a decade ago, was currently president and editor-in-chief, and she announced yesterday that she is stepping down from the news site to launch a new health and wellness company, Thrive Global. She said Thrive, which will start in November, demands her full-time attention. No word yet on who will replace her.
Now 6:18 here on WKYT this morning. The nation's largest drugstore chain is introducing its own payment system. CVS says their smartphone app will let shoppers scan their phone at the register, similar to Walmart's payment option. CVS Pay is live now in 4 northeastern states, and it should work nationwide by the end of the year. Adblock's message to Facebook is back at you. Just 48 hours after Facebook announced new anti-ad blocking technology, an ad blocker said it had figured out how to circumvent it. Facebook says any attempt to override its anti-ad blocking technology would force pages to load slowly. Macy's has announced it is planning to close about 100 of its department stores. The retailer says it will shut down about 15% of its struggling stores. Still no word if Lexington's Fayette Mall location is included in the list of stores to be closed. The move comes as Macy's revealed its second quarter sales fell a little bit less than they actually had feared, but they had gone ahead with this move to try to shore things up. And the popular brand of cookie Oreos will soon have a very special and different kind of filling. Swedish fish Oreos are being sold exclusively at Kroger supermarkets. The cookies feature gummy candy flavored filling in that distinct bright red color. A little unusual, and but it's out there.
I don't mean to be a hater, okay,
but you know,
I like Swedish fish. I like Oreos. I like them separately.
I think the original has worked just fine for a long time, don't you?
I really do. I really do. What will they think of next? WKYT This Morning is just getting started. Thanks for starting your Friday off with us. We know all cats have 9 lives, but not all cats have 4 ears. A look at a very unique Pennsylvania feline gaining internet stardom when we come back.
We have that front well back toward the west of us, and still that low pressure system churning down toward the Gulf of Mexico, just throwing moisture all direction. When does the widespread rain make its way into our viewing area? We're going to go over that coming up next.
Welcome back in. It is coming up on 624 WKYT This Morning on your Friday.
Okay, so a deadly officer-involved shooting is under investigation in Harlan County this morning.
That's what's trending at this hour. It happened last night in the Woodland Hills subdivision near Harlan. Details still limited, but police say several different law enforcement agencies were at the scene, including some from Lexington. And they say those officials were involved in an argument with a man. Police say that man was eventually shot and killed. Your weekend is arriving. What about the weather? Here's meteorologist Micah Harris.
We have a lot of moisture streaming on in once again for today, coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. There's a system over Louisiana at this moment. It's pushing the moisture northbound, and it is setting up shop over us just in time for this front to head on through later on this weekend. Now remember, this weekend rain chances, the amounts haven't changed and toward your Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but the timing has. There's some good news for us as we head towards your weekend. It looks like Saturday, most of us stay dry, a few storms now, and now Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it's pushed back basically 12 hours. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday is your best bet at some rain. Temperatures are there in the 70s. It's feeling like 82 degrees right now in Frankfort. It does not feel good outside. Mostly dry, guys. We're talking about the small chance of rain later on this afternoon. And obviously breaking down those rain chances. I'll take you hour by hour in just a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you in just a little bit. All right, somebody for you to meet now.
Yeah, Humane Society workers are always on the lookout for a good home for a pet in need. But when it came to finding a home for this unique cat, they were definitely all ears.
All the better to hear you with. Check out this furry feline that was up for grabs at a Pennsylvania animal shelter. It sports not 1, but 2 sets of ears. The cat's rare genetic mutation has actually made him very popular as far as a prospect for adoption. So popular, in fact, that Batman, his unofficial name, has already found a home. So what about that?
The better to hear you with.
4 ears.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not to be outdone by this rare 4-eared cat, there's a rare lobster that made an appearance off the Massachusetts coast this week.
All right, take a look at this bright blue lobster. We've seen this guy here before, a snare by a lobster man in Plymouth. He says it was so blue it was almost fluorescent. Cool. Experts have said that the odds of a blue lobster, about 1 in 2 million, Talk about a lucky catch, but we have seen this in recent history here in the last couple of years,
Really is
so
something.
maybe not quite as rare as it once was, but hey, it's Kentucky Blue
I was
almost.
going to say a UK lobster there.
Yeah.
What about that? Hey, it's good to have you with us on WKYT. It is your Friday. That weekend is on the way. We have more news coming up.
When WKYT This Morning returns, U.S. Senate Majority Leader says the GOP is in a dogfight to keep control of the Senate. We'll explain more coming up at 6:30.
All of our top stories are on the way. Tonight's Mega Millions is $45 million. Tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is $82 million. Keep it here on WKYT This Morning.